Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little bit more rust repair on the Datsun. Let's jump right to it. So those of you that have watched the previous videos know that this portion of the front frame or subframe in this car, as well as the lower core support here, is all rusted out. You can see the holes in the top. So my plan today is to cut this piece out. I have a new piece of rectangle tube that I'm going to put back in. I'll have to solve the tow hooks a little bit later. Got to pull the front valence back off. It's just mocked up right now. I got to cut out that piece, and then I can finally paint everything behind there, and maybe after welding get this thing put back together for the last time. So here's a better look at what I'm talking about. This is the bottom of the core support. This whole piece is supposed to be flat like this all the way across. Here it got molded or squished in and someone hooked onto the tow hook here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see under here, but this whole thing is gone. So one thing that you do that I will have to be mindful of is this piece right here, which is the reinforcement for the strut rod bushing. I have to cut out the middle here, but I have to make sure that I don't really mess this piece up at all. And if I do, I'm gonna have to weld that back in. So I'm gonna cut this, I think, for starters, somewhere about here and somewhere about there, and then get a measurement and see what else I have to fabricate or make up to get this to fit. Alright, now that I've got that center bar out of the way, I am going to start by cutting out and remaking just this top piece here. I may make another patch for down here, but we'll see what that looks like when I open it up. So you've all seen this before, piece of cardboard. I'm going to trace out that shape, cut it out, and then buzz that out of some sheet metal and cut this out, weld it back in. It's important when you're doing rust repair to be really accurate with your cuts. That's why I'm going to use this. And I'm kidding. You basically just have to do whatever you have to do to get the metal out of the way, replace it with more good stuff, weld it all up. If you guys think that a plasma cutter is outside of your reach, the one I'm using right now is actually a JEGS unit. I think it was 230 bucks brand new. It is 220 powered, but this thing will do, I think, up to a 3/8 inch plate. It works really well, and it was incredibly affordable. Just hooks up to compressed air. Helps if you turn it on. Woo. So here's what I'm left with. Trim the lower piece of this plate off, and that whole core support here is now gone. I think I just have to flap wheel the remaining little piece of metal off of this, because there's a little sandwich right here. So I just need to get rid of this little piece here, and then flap wheel some of this rust off of here. And I think I may actually make 2 patch pieces so that I can actually cut out the inside of this frame rail, because it is a little bit rusty. So I'm going to peel the rest of this stuff apart here and see what else I can come up with, what else has to come off, and we'll pick up when I've got some patch panels made and ready to weld. Man, is this a ton of work. Any of you Datsun guys will know what this is all about. But anyway, so I decided to cut a little bit further back here. So this is actually the inside of the frame rail, and it's a little bit rusted in there. It looks wet right now because I just spread some of this phosphoric acid treatment on the rust. So I'm going to let that soak for a while, convert all that rust, and then I'm going to hit it with weld through primer. And while I'm doing that, I will make my patch pieces here. I need 2 of these, one for the lower portion of the frame rail, one for the upper. And then I actually cut out this piece right here, which basically just connects and completes that. So I will weld this back in, or I will make a new piece. I don't know. This looks a lot worse than it is. This is undercoating and stuff, and a real poor cut with the plasma cutter. Anyway, I'm gonna cut my patch panels over here and get those tacked in, get that all welded back up, and then I'll come over here and I'm gonna cut this side out exactly the same as that side, and then put my piece of square tube across the whole thing. All right, here at Booger's Fab Shop, basically everything gets booger welded. I'm gonna remake the inner frame rail section here in 3 pieces. So this piece is gonna butt weld right there. This piece is gonna fit right on top. Don't worry, these are a little out of alignment. And then this piece right here, that is going to fill in the gap right there. It's gonna look just like this piece right here with that little tab. So I'm gonna get to welding and get all this coated in weld through primer, and then maybe work on cutting this out and see if I can't get that square tube in here. All right, got that new front frame section welded in right there, top, bottom, and the middle piece. So this right here, I did not finish welding this arc right here because I may or may not have to pull this tab out a little bit to allow the piece of square tube to fit equally in here between the 2 pieces of frame. So I'm going to cut this out, measure that, get that mocked up in here, and then hopefully get this all welded up. All right, so what I have here is, I believe this is 1.5 by 1.5, 1/8" wall, mild steel rectangle stock. And my plan is basically to shove this right in there and essentially recreate the lower core support out of something much stronger, and then I can weld this all up solid and it'll be really good. So I'm gonna get this all square and straight and nice looking in here, and then I'm gonna zap it in. Here's the finished product. I did get in here and I scuffed all this and shot it with that DE1635. This actually turned out really nice, and you can stand on that lower cross member. It is more than strong enough. It did tie the 2 frame sections back together, and the repaired, in the repaired frame rail section, you can tell that it's been repaired. It did not grind the welds. But overall, it looks pretty good compared to the other side. So at this point, I think I'm finally ready to prepare to drop the engine in. With that, I think I'm going to call this video right here. Finally got the lower core support put back together. With all of that rust repair done, we are ready to move forward to get the engine in the engine bay. Finally. So thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here, if you like the Datsun, maybe the Oldsmobile and some other stuff, consider subscribing. It is free and it really helps the channel. So thank you all again so much, and we'll see you in the next one.